Hey guys, it's the Doughboy bringing you a Domination game on Nuketown. As you can tell, I'm using the dual skorpions, murder red with the Party Doughboy logo. So the story behind this is that the previous game that we played, I played with a group of guys pretty much every night. The one guy was doing the Mac 11 contract and was bitching about how terrible the guns were. So we all decided we were going to use equally shitty guns, and of course I broke out my not-so-shitty skorpions. The funny part behind that is I've done an entire prestige with dual skorpions from start to end. Well, as soon as I can get dual skorpions. And I did nothing but use those. So I have a little history with my babies, the dual skorps. This video is pretty long, so I'm going to go ahead and try to go super fast mode through most of the parts up until I get to some of the funny parts, some of the dual nades, and some of the rest of this stuff. But enjoy the video, and I'm going to go on to commentate about something that's near and dear to my heart through the next couple of months, and that's football season. I am a huge college football and pro football fan. Growing up, I really didn't follow college football too much. I mean, it was something that was on in the background. I never really followed any specific players or really had a favorite team. I was kind of off doing my own thing, you know, being a kid. It wasn't really until college that I actually got into following college football. When I got to college, I met a bunch of kids, and we ended up becoming close friends. We ended up actually going to most every home game that we could. A few of the guys would paint up for every game. We would go and just be assholes and lunatics and cheer for the team. I was friends with a lot of athletes, so that's pretty much how it went. It wasn't until really after my college career that I became sort of a college football fanatic. I had season tickets to my alma mater. I went to every single home game. I went to a lot of the away games. I followed it online. I watched every single game. I started following, you know, all the teams in the Big East. I started following pretty much all of the top 25 and really paying attention to what people were doing around the country, who was ranked what, who were the up-and-coming players, even as far as like the craziness of looking like what high school players were coming up, and it got pretty nuts. I mean, I'm still pretty heavy into it, but not that crazy. Then pro football was changed for me forever. I got invited to a fantasy football league. Now for us, it's 14 guys, we each throw in $200 each, we draft the teams, we play a regular season, and then a 3-game postseason. Top 3 win, so it's a deep league. You don't have anybody left on your bench. You don't have anybody left to pick up, so you're constantly following players throughout the year, checking everybody out for the next year, and hoping that you can score some points with who you got. If Janikowski's going to go kicking a 61-yard field goal, that's like 10 points, 11 points. That's just as much as friggin' some running back who gets 100 yards and no touchdowns gets me. That's like better than Witten scored, and that was only for 1 kick. Dude had field goals and extra points. That's tons of points. What does that mean for me? That's money in my pocket. If I get the most points for the week, that's an extra $10. $10 every week, there's $100 plus winning. You're talking about $1,200-$1,400 at the end of the season. Not so bad. You're watching the highlights, you're watching team stats, you're watching personal stats. You're looking at up-and-comers. I mean, we just got into keeper leagues, and that's a totally crazy difference because, I mean, last year I picked up LeGarrette Blount. Why did I pick him up? I picked him up because he punched that dude in the face and knocked him out. And what did he do? He ended up winning me, or actually I took second last year, but he ended up winning me like $1,000. That's not so bad. But I do find myself questioning, is all this time I spend on football worth it? I mean, 3 days a week doing nothing but football. I love it. I mean, when I was going to every single football game, it was like, you know, Thursdays, Saturdays, you know, if it's a Saturday game, you're getting up early in the morning, you're getting all your shit prepped, you're getting there 3, 4, 5 hours before the game, you're grilling, you're drinking, you spend time at the game, you're getting home at like midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then you get up in the morning, you have breakfast, you turn on the TV, you get your computer up, you get your other TV up, you get your picture-in-picture, you're watching Red Zone, you've got every game on, you're following all these stats, you're texting people, talking shit. It's just like, what the fuck, man? And then February rolls around, and you're like, fuck. I don't follow too much baseball anymore, so it's like, that's my downtime. Once the spring comes, I'll go and do some fishing, but I really can't wait until football season. This is the shit. Why? I don't know, because it got me into a sport that I really loved. I mean, back in the day, I just used to watch, the two teams that I liked. The college team that I liked, and the pro team that I liked. Now, I've got the Eagles defense on my friggin' fantasy team. I fucking hate the Eagles. I hate Philly. I hate everything about Philly. Well, I love cheesesteaks. But Philly, it's like the retarded younger brother of New York City. Let's get real here. They're constantly living in New York shadow. Well, I constantly live in New York shadow because I'm in the suburbs. But what the fuck? What do you guys think about this? I mean, New York, Philly, come on, let's be realistic. I guess that brings me back to why fantasy football is so awesome. I mean, Darren McFadden, LeGarrette Blount, who was watching those guys? I was watching those guys. LaDainian Tomlinson last year, kicking ass, hell yeah. And kickers? Who cares about kickers? I care about kickers. Well, it looks like this video is winding down pretty quickly, so let me just tell you I am the Doughboy, and let me remind you to keep it doughy.